Ma'am, please don't waste my time. Derek Collins didn't whisper it. He said it loud enough for the entire bank lobby to hear. Ava Thompson froze, soft-spoken, patient, holding her worn little purse, as he looked her up and down like she was an inconvenience, not a customer. "What do you want?" he sighed, loud and bored. "I would like to check my balance, please," Ava said gently. But Derek laughed. Laughed, loud enough to make strangers turn their heads. "Check your balance? With that purse? Oh, this is going to be good." A few customers chuckled. Others stared in disbelief. But Ava just stood there, calm, quiet, unshaken, dignity wrapped around her like armor. And Derek kept going. Louder. Crueler. Mocking her clothes, her voice, her patience, all while the line watched. He thought he was embarrassing her. He didn't know he was embarrassing himself, because in a few seconds, when that screen finishes loading, everyone in that lobby, including Derek, is about to learn exactly who Ava Thompson really is. And the man laughing the loudest is seconds away from losing the most. This is Hidden Black Echoes, where the stories of struggles are told, the rise and the voice of those the world tried to silence. If you believe respect should never depend on appearance, tap like, hit subscribe, because what happens next in this bank will prove that dignity speaks louder than money, and louder than the ones who mock too soon. "Let me guess," Derek said dramatically. "You're checking if you have, what, $5? Maybe $6? Someone in line actually laughed. Ava's cheeks warmed, but she kept her voice steady. "I would just like to check my balance, please." "Oh, of course," Derek sneered, "because this is totally the face of a high-value client." Thomas, the security guard, shifted uncomfortably. He had been watching Derek all morning. The eye rolls, the sarcasm, the fake politeness toward people he considered beneath him. But this? This was different. Derek leaned over the counter and lowered his voice in mock sympathy. "Look, sweetheart, people like you don't need to check balances. There's nothing there to check." Ava blinked once, not angry, not defensive, just patient. "I would still like to check," she said softly. Derek scoffed and rubbed his forehead dramatically. Sure, let's waste the whole line's time because we all know this is going to be hilarious." He looked toward the line. "You guys mind waiting while she checks if she still has lunch money?" A few people shook their heads in disgust, but at him, not her. At the back of the lobby, manager Miguel Alvarez slowly stepped out of his office. He had seen enough to know something was wrong. He folded his arms and watched quietly. Ava cleared her throat gently. "Sir, please, I'm not trying to disturb anyone. I only want to see my balance." Derek rolled his eyes and tapped the counter impatiently. "Fine. Give me your account number, and try not to take forever." Ava opened her purse and pulled out a small, neatly folded paper. Her hands didn't shake. Her breath didn't break. She handed it to him with quiet dignity. Derek snatched it, sighing dramatically. He typed with exaggerated slowness. "You know," he said loudly, "in all my years working here," he had worked here 11 months, "I have never had someone look this broke and ask to check their balance. This is actually insane." A mother in line whispered, "What is wrong with him?" Thomas the guard stepped a little closer. Ava didn't defend herself, didn't look around, didn't shrink. She just waited. Calm. Still. Respectful. Her silence infuriated Derek. "Oh, come on," he said, laughing. "Say something. Tell me you're joking." Ava looked at him calmly and repeated, "I would like to check my balance." Derek shook his head. "You know what? Fine. Let's get this over with so I can help real customers." He slapped the enter key hard, still smirking, still mocking, still convinced he was superior. And the entire bank watched as the screen began to load. Ava stood silently, dignity unbroken, eyes soft, unbothered by the noise around her. Derek leaned back with a bored sigh. "This is going to be good," he muttered. And in that moment, the moment before the shock, the entire bank had no idea. They were seconds away from watching a man humiliate himself more than he ever humiliated her. The bank lobby buzzed with quiet tension. Customers shifted uneasily, their murmurs fading as Derek Collins continued his loud performance. He stared at the loading screen dramatically, drumming his fingers. "This system is so slow," he said loudly, "probably because it knows this is a complete waste of time." A couple of people in line exchanged glances. Annoyed, uncomfortable. Ava just stood there, hands folded neatly in front of her. Calm. Still. As if she had all the time in the world. Derek couldn't stand her silence. "You know," he continued, leaning back in his chair, "there should really be a different line for people like you. Maybe a low balance lane. Save the rest of us time." Someone muttered, "Dude, that's not funny." Derek ignored him. He lifted her worn purse with 2 fingers, as if it were contaminated. "This is vintage," he said sarcastically. "Did your grandma give it to you? Or did you get it at a yard sale?" Ava didn't react. She simply said, with the same quiet dignity, "I would like to check my balance, sir. Nothing else." Derek scoffed loudly. "Balance? Sweetheart, I don't think you're ready for the disappointment." Thomas, the security guard, took another step closer. Close enough that Derek noticed. "Is there a reason you're hovering, Reed?" Derek snapped. "Or are you also curious if she has lunch money left?" Thomas didn't blink. "I'm doing my job." Derek snorted. "Yeah? Well, so am I. Some of us aren't lucky enough to just stand around all day." Thomas's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. From inside the glass-walled office upstairs, Manager Miguel Alvarez watched everything. Every word, every insult, every unnecessary delay. He didn't intervene yet. He wanted to see exactly how far Derek would go. Derek turned back to Ava, annoyed that she still wasn't reacting. "Do you even have an ID?" he snapped. "Or did you walk in here hoping for a miracle?" Ava reached into her purse and placed her ID gently on the counter. A few customers in line murmured, "Why is he talking to her like that? She's literally not doing anything wrong. He's out of line." Derek waved the ID as if bored. Fine. Let's just get this over with." The screen still hadn't loaded, and Derek rolled his eyes dramatically, as if Ava were responsible for the slow internet. "Honestly, next time just use the ATM. This counter is for real banking." Ava blinked softly. "But the ATM does not show investment balances." Derek scoffed. "Oh, you have investments now?" He laughed loudly, turning to the customers behind her. "You hear that? She has investments." Someone whispered, "Why is he so nasty?" Ava lowered her eyes. Not in shame, but to avoid feeding his ego. Derek leaned in close. Too close, and whispered mockingly, "You're wasting everyone's time. People like you shouldn't be in this line. You're slowing down real customers with real money." A woman in line finally spoke up. "Hey, leave her alone." Derek shot her a glare. "Ma'am, mind your business." "It is my business when I'm watching someone be bullied," she snapped. Derek scoffed again, but said nothing. He turned back to Ava. You know what? I should charge you a service fee for the comedy today, seriously. Ava inhaled slowly, then exhaled. I only asked to check my balance, she said softly. And I only asked you to not be a waste of time, Derek retorted. That's when the screen finally loaded. But Derek didn't look yet. He kept talking. You know what your problem is? People like you come in here expecting handouts, expecting special treatment, and then you're shocked when reality hits you in the face. A customer yelled from the back, Just check her balance, man! Derek rolled his eyes so hard it looked painful. Fine. He dramatically spun back to the computer. The customers leaned in. Thomas crossed his arms. Manager Alvarez stepped out of his office. Ava watched with calm patience. And Derek, with his trademark smirk, said, Let's see if you even have $100. He stopped. Dead. His face went blank. His mouth parted slightly. His eyes widened and widened and widened. A full-body freeze. Silence. The lobby fell still. Something had just happened. Something big. And Ava hadn't even looked at the screen yet. Derek Collins stared at the monitor as if someone had slapped him. His face drained of color. His fingers hovered, frozen above the keyboard. His entire body went rigid. Customers leaned forward, confused. Thomas, the security guard, stiffened. Ava simply waited, hands folded calmly in front of her. But Derek was unraveling. His lips moved, but no sound came out. His eyes darted over the screen again and again, like he couldn't trust them. Finally, in a choked whisper meant only for himself. This can't be real. Ava tilted her head gently. Is something wrong? Her voice was soft, gentle, respectful. Derek didn't respond. He couldn't. Because staring back at him from the glowing computer screen was not what he expected. Not $5, not $20, not $100. Ava Thompson, checking account balance, $8,472,900.54. Derek blinked rapidly. He scrolled. And then he saw more. Investment portfolio, managed accounts, $24,370,000 plus. Status, priority platinum client, confidential protocol required, access restricted to senior bank officials only. Derek's throat closed. His palms began to sweat. His knees wobbled under the desk. The customers behind Ava studied Derek's face and began whispering. What did he see? Why does he look like he's dying? Bro's whole attitude changed in half a second. Ava stood patiently, quiet as ever. The screen didn't lie. She wasn't broke. She wasn't struggling. She wasn't the woman he mocked her for being. She was one of the wealthiest clients in the bank, richer than Derek's entire branch combined. A woman who could buy the building, buy the block, buy his life. Derek swallowed hard and tried to speak, but all that came out was a cracked, shaky gasp. He pressed a button to refresh the screen. The numbers reappeared instantly. $8.4 million. $24.3 million. Priority platinum. Ava's voice broke the silence, gentle as a breeze. Sir, may I know my balance now? Derek jerked upright, eyes wide with panic. Yes, of course. Miss Thompson, just a moment, please. The customers stiffened. Miss Thompson? He hadn't said ma'am once before. Not once. Derek clicked random buttons, hands shaking so badly he almost knocked over his water. Ava blinked softly. "I hope everything is okay." "Everything is fine!" Derek squeaked. He wiped sweat off his forehead. "Absolutely fine. Perfect. Wonderful." The entire bank was staring now. Even the ATM seemed to be watching. Derek turned toward Ava with a trembling smile that looked more like a grimace. Miss Thompson, your balance is currently, it's... He couldn't say it. Ava waited patiently. He tried again. It's 8 million and $472,000 and 54 cents. Silence. Not even a cough. Customers stopped breathing. A woman whispered, stunned. "She's a millionaire?" A man muttered. He mocked a millionaire. Thomas, the security guard, let out a long, low whistle. Derek felt the blood drain from his face. He wasn't looking at Ava anymore. He was looking at his career sliding into a grave. Ava nodded gently. "Thank you. Could you also confirm my investment accounts?" Derek nearly choked. He clicked, hands trembling uncontrollably. The massive figure appeared again. He managed to say it without passing out. Your investments total $24,370,000. Gasps filled the bank. A man in line whispered, "That's more money than our entire neighborhood." Another said, "He really tried to humiliate her." If this moment has you leaning closer, tap like and hit subscribe for more stories where quiet grace turns the whole room, and the person underestimated at the start becomes the one everyone respects in the end. Derek felt the heat of shame crawling up his neck. He had mocked her purse, her clothes, her dignity, and now he was staring at a client whose net worth nearly touched $33 million. He tried to steady himself. "Miss Thompson, I sincerely apologize if my tone earlier seemed..." Ava looked right at him for the first time. "Disrespectful?" she finished gently. Derek swallowed hard. "Yes, ma'am." The bank doors opened. Manager Alvarez walked toward the counter with the exact expression Derek feared most. Calm, neutral, and ready. He had seen everything. Ava, however, just offered him a small, polite smile. "Thank you. I appreciate the information." She didn't raise her voice. She didn't seek revenge. She didn't humiliate him back. And somehow that made it worse. Because she had something Derek never would. Dignity. The manager stepped beside Derek. "Miss Thompson," Alvarez said with respect, "may I speak with you privately?" Ava nodded and stepped aside. Derek's fate was already sealed. He just didn't know how fast justice would come. The lobby was silent when Ava stepped aside with Manager Alvarez. Silent in that heavy, electric way a room gets right before a storm breaks. Everyone felt it. Everyone knew something was coming. Derek Collins swallowed hard, trying to stop his hands from shaking. But it was useless. His entire body had gone cold. His mouth felt dry, his pulse hammered against his throat. He knew his career might be slipping through his fingers. He just didn't know how fast it would happen. Mr. Miguel Alvarez stood tall beside the counter. He was a calm man, mature, collected, but his eyes were sharp, observant, and burning with disappointment. "Miss Thompson," he said with a respectful nod, "please allow me a moment to review something. I'll return to you shortly." Ava nodded politely. "Of course." Derek released a shaky breath. Maybe, just maybe, he could talk his way out of this. Maybe the manager would handle it quietly. Maybe there would be a warning, a meeting, a write-up. Maybe he still had a chance. But then, Manager Alvarez stepped behind the counter. He didn't say a word at first. He simply tapped the screen Derek had been working on, reviewed the account, reviewed the teller notes, reviewed the login trail, reviewed the recorded microphone feed automatically stored for VIP clients. Then, he clicked a small icon, the one that opened the security camera feed from Derek's station, and the room felt like it tilted. Derek choked on his own breath. "Wait, sir. I can explain." "Not yet," Alvarez said quietly. "Stand still." The manager slipped his glasses on and clicked through the footage with calm precision. But calm from a manager wasn't always good. This wasn't patience. This was preparation. Derek's heart beat faster with every second. The customers behind him watched intently. Some pretended they weren't listening, but everyone was. The entire bank had turned into a silent audience. Thomas, the security guard, folded his arms and shifted his weight. His expression wasn't smug, just resigned. He had predicted this. He had seen this coming hours ago. The manager watched the footage that showed Derek mocking Ava's purse, Derek raising his voice, Derek turning to the line for laughs, Derek rolling his eyes, Derek speaking to Ava like she was a child, Derek delaying her request, Derek humiliating her with comments about real customers, Derek sighing dramatically, Derek insulting her intelligence, Derek accusing her of wasting time, Derek taunting her, Derek telling her people like her should use an ATM, Derek performing for an audience, Derek weaponizing humiliation. Footage didn't lie. Alvarez clicked another button, letting the audio play through a small desk speaker. Ava winced at hearing it replayed. A few customers shook their heads. One whispered, "Oh, he's done." Derek felt his stomach turn to concrete. The manager stopped the playback, removed his glasses. Then he turned slowly toward Derek. The air was thick, heavy, unforgiving. "Mr. Collins," Alvarez said, voice calm but icy. "Step away from the counter." Derek's breath stuttered. "Sir, please, just listen. I was joking. Everyone jokes. It wasn't—" "Now," the manager cut in. "Step away." Derek stepped back. His legs wobbled. Ava stood quietly nearby, her hands clasped in front of her, still composed, still gentle. She wasn't smirking. She wasn't enjoying this. That made it worse. Mr. Alvarez took a slow breath and addressed the lobby. "Ladies and gentlemen," he began, "this bank has strict policies regarding professionalism, customer respect, and confidentiality." Customers nodded, murmuring approval. Alvarez continued, eyes locked on Derek. "What we witnessed today," he gestured towards the footage, "was a serious violation of all three." Derek swallowed hard, sweat forming on his forehead. "Sir, I didn't realize—" "You didn't realize?" Alvarez repeated. "Yes, that's the problem." He stepped closer, voice firm. "You assumed Miss Thompson was beneath you because of her clothing, because of her quiet demeanor, because of her humility. You treated her differently based on your personal assumptions." Derek opened his mouth, but no words came out. "And then," the manager continued sharply, "you mocked her, publicly, loudly, multiple times, for everyone to hear." A few people nodded. One woman murmured, "Exactly." Alvarez's tone hardened. "You humiliated a client in front of witnesses, you made discriminatory remarks, and you delayed her transaction repeatedly, intentionally." Derek's voice cracked. "Sir, please, I didn't know she was—" "A millionaire," the manager interrupted. "Is that what matters to you, Mr. Collins?" Silence. Cold, heavy silence. You only respect people you think have money? Alvarez's voice rose slightly. Is that the standard of service you follow here? No, sir. I didn't mean... But Alvarez didn't let him finish. Miss Thompson, the manager said, turning to Ava with a respectful nod. On behalf of this branch, I apologize deeply for the unprofessional, disrespectful treatment you experienced. Ava dipped her head gently. Thank you. I'm not upset. I only asked to check my balance. And you had every right, Alvarez said. Then he faced Derek. Mr. Collins, he said firmly, this bank does not tolerate customer humiliation, discrimination, or verbal misconduct. Derek felt tears sting his eyes. Sir, don't fire me, please. I need this job. Alvarez exhaled slowly. Your behavior was unacceptable, and it was recorded and witnessed. Derek tried again, voice shaking. Please, I can improve. I'll take training. I'll apologize. You will apologize, Alvarez said, but you won't do it as an employee. Derek's heart stopped. You are terminated effective immediately. Gasps erupted across the lobby. A man whispered, Damn. A woman murmured, Good. He deserved it. Derek shook his head rapidly. No, sir. Please, just give me another... Thomas, Alvarez said quietly. The security guard stepped forward, calm and unhurried. Escort Mr. Collins out. Derek backed away instinctively. No, wait. I can fix this, sir, please. But Thomas gently took him by the arm. Come on, Derek, he said softly. It's done. Derek looked around desperately, at the customers, at the manager, at Ava. She didn't gloat, she didn't smirk, she didn't say a word. And that was the final blow. Ava had more dignity in silence than he ever had with a microphone. He lowered his head as Thomas guided him past the watching crowd. Past the phone's recording. Past the manager. Past the woman he humiliated. And Derek Collins, who thought he could judge wealth by clothing, walked out of the bank unemployed, humiliated, and escorted by security. Justice wasn't loud. It was clean, swift, and absolute. Manager Alvarez turned to Ava. Miss Thompson, he said softly, allow me to take you to our VIP suite. She nodded politely, and as she walked past the stunned lobby, everyone realized she never needed to raise her voice, never needed anger, never needed revenge. Her dignity did all the talking. The moment Derek was escorted out of the bank, the lobby shifted. The tension dissolved. Whispers faded. Even the air felt different. Ava Thompson stood quietly at the center of it all, still soft-spoken, still composed, still impossibly gentle despite everything she'd endured. Manager Miguel Alvarez approached her slowly, with the careful respect of a man who knew he had just witnessed a lesson he'd never forget. Miss Thompson, he said softly, I'd like to personally escort you upstairs. A few customers stepped aside instinctively, clearing the path as if she were royalty. Ava smiled politely. Thank you, that's not necessary. It is, Alvarez insisted. Please. He gestured toward a frosted glass hallway on the side of the lobby. Ava walked calmly toward it, her small purse swinging lightly at her side. No arrogance, no pride, just grace. As they walked, customers whispered, she didn't deserve that. She handled it so gracefully. I've never seen a reversal like that in real life. Imagine having $33 million and still being so humble. Thomas, the security guard, gave her a gentle nod as she passed. Ava nodded back. Thank you for stepping in when you could. Thomas smiled quietly. Ma'am, I didn't even get the chance. You handled it better than any of us." Upstairs, the lighting changed. The walls softened. Fresh flowers lined the hall. Ava had stepped into a different world, the world reserved for the bank's richest clientele. Manager Alvarez opened a glass door and held it for her. "Welcome to the VIP suite, Miss Thompson." A luxurious private room stretched before her. Leather seats, personal attendants, a polished conference desk, fruit-infused water, and screens dedicated to high-value accounts. Ava entered slowly, almost shyly. She never liked being treated differently. But today, after what she endured, she allowed herself this one moment of peace. Alvarez sat across from her, clearing his throat. "I want to begin by apologizing," he said. "What you experienced downstairs was unacceptable. Derek's behavior was against every value we stand for." Ava set her purse gently on the table. "I appreciate your apology, but I'm not angry." That surprised him. Most VIP clients, he knew, weren't as forgiving. Not at all. Ava folded her hands neatly. "I wasn't upset because of the words he used," she said. "I've heard worse in life. I've been judged for my clothes, my skin, my voice, my quietness, but none of that truly matters." She looked Alvarez in the eye, calm and unshakable. "What matters is how we respond." He nodded slowly. Ava continued, "I don't want pain for him. I don't want revenge. I don't want him to suffer. I just want the next woman he meets, any woman he meets, to be treated with dignity." Her voice softened. "Whether she has $5 or 50 million. Silence fell over the room, warm, meaningful, heavy with truth. Alvarez breathed out deeply. "You are an extraordinary woman, Miss Thompson." Ava smiled, modest, almost shy, just trying to live with kindness. He clicked open her account dashboard. "Before you go, do you need assistance with anything else today?" Ava shook her head gently. "No, I only came to check my balance." Alvarez chuckled under his breath. "I think we all understand now that you have one of the most impressive balances in the region." Ava's gaze dropped to her purse. "I don't measure myself with numbers," she said quietly. "Wealth doesn't make anyone better. It shouldn't make anyone cruel." Her words hung in the air like a lesson written in stone. Alvarez stood. "In that case, Miss Thompson, allow me to escort you downstairs." As they reached the main floor, customers watched her with newfound respect. Not because she was rich, but because she was good. A woman whispered to her daughter, "You see her? Remember her. That's what grace looks like." A man near the exit stepped aside and said softly, "You deserved better. I'm glad you got justice." Ava only smiled politely. "Thank you." She walked toward the glass doors, sunlight pouring in from outside. Just before she stepped out, she glanced toward the sidewalk where Derek was being spoken to by another security guard. He wasn't angry or shouting. He looked small, lost, humble for the first time. Ava paused, not out of pity, but understanding. Then she walked through the doors, her posture straight, her pace steady, her dignity unshaken. And the entire bank watched her leave, realizing they hadn't witnessed just a reversal of fortune. They had witnessed a masterclass in humility, in strength, in grace under fire. Ava stepped into the sunlight, her small purse on her shoulder, her quiet confidence radiating outward. No revenge, no arrogance, no need to prove anything. Truth did the speaking, dignity did the teaching, justice did the rest. And behind her, An entire lobby of strangers had learned the same lesson. You never know who you're talking to. So treat everyone with respect. Always. If stories like this remind you that dignity has nothing to do with clothes, status, or the size of a bank account, hit like, subscribe. So you never miss the next story where arrogance collapses, respect returns, and the quietest person in the room walks out with the final victory.